I would like to introduce Chythenyen Deviki Kulasekaran. He's joining us from Salem. He's worked quite extensively on waste to energy plants.
Thanks for the opportunity, Nirmala, and to the organizers. Good evening, everybody. I would like to talk about what, why, and why now. I'm going to make this presentation on this context. So I'll start with what are waste to energies. I think most of us are familiar with landfills because it is visible to the naked eye, and we have felt the impacts of landfills for several decades now. So waste to energy incinerators are basically furnaces which burn mixed municipal solid waste, and when this waste is burnt, heat is generated, and this heat is used to generate steam, which will run a turbine and produce electricity. In simple terms, you can imagine a waste to energy incinerator something like a thermal power plant which operates on waste, MSW, instead of coal or oil or gas. If you look at the major outputs of an incinerator plant, the first major output is the flue gas emission from the chimneys. The next major output is the toxic leachate that comes out of these plants. For example, incineration of 1,000 tons of waste will generate about 3 lakh liters of leachate, toxic leachate, every single day. Plus, we also generate a lot of bottom ash and fly ash, typically ranging from 30% to 35% of what goes inside a plant. So these are the major outputs of an incinerator plant. So for some of you who are wondering why I am not talking about electricity, it's because electricity is the smallest fraction of output that comes out of an incinerator. Incinerators produce the least amount of energy for the waste that is being fed. So electricity is actually a very, very small output of an incinerator. So you can look at this picture here. So this is how it is. Large trucks with tons of garbage just unload it in a very big pit, and we have cranes that pick up these waste and put it in a furnace. If you look at this picture a little more closely, then you can see paper, plastic, some wood there. But what you also don't see here in this picture is what inside those black plastic carry bags. It could be e-waste, it could be hazardous waste from homes, it could be batteries, it could be anything. So the reason why I want to emphasize on this fact is that waste to energy incineration is a highly uncontrolled process which has several types of waste, and there is typically very little or no control over what goes inside a waste to energy incineration plant. And now moving to why are we talking about this? Why are communities fighting against these waste to energy plants? This is the headlines from one of the newspapers in 2021. The 3 waste to energy incinerators in Delhi were fined 5 lakh rupees each by the National Green Tribunal and the Pollution Control Board as well. But what is very scary is that after this 2021 inspection and fine, these plants were not inspected for the next 4 years. So the inspection on 2021 was followed up by an inspection in 2024, which means they were operating without any kind of monitoring for the next 4 years. This also highlights the kind of industry that is behind this. Just as a matter of fact, the 2 major waste energy incinerators in India are run by the Jindal Group and the Ramki Group, which is the Re-Sustainability Limited. And the thing is that we also don't have the capacity to monitor some of the emissions that come out from these plants. This is a report which was submitted by the Central Pollution Control Board to the National Green Tribunal, and the CPCB has actually acknowledged that they do not have the facility to monitor dioxins and furans, and they had to rely on third-party analysis. So imagine the national capital not having a facility to monitor dioxins and furans. Other places, other cities are very far away. And this is the news item that came out in the New York Times. This was an investigative piece carried over a period of 5 years with 150 samples, collaborating with IIT Delhi and various other premium institutions. What they found was that cadmium, manganese, arsenic, and other heavy metals were like 19 times, 10 times, 5 times higher than the EPA standards, and it impacted the lives of 1 million people. So just one single plant, the Okhla waste energy plant run by the Jindal Group in Delhi, impacted the lives of 1 million people. And this is the report from CSIR NEERI. So the National Green Tribunal had asked the CSIR NEERI to actually give a report on waste to energy incinerators. And this is what they said. First of all, they said that incineration of mixed waste is bad for the environment, health. They also said that it is against the principles of the circular economy. And if you look at this is the data from the EPR portal, which is the Extended Producer Responsibility Portal, which is run by the CPCB. This data shows that 7,35,840 tons of plastic was burnt in the financial year 2022-2023 by the 4 incinerators in Delhi. Now we all know that Delhi has the most polluted air in the world, and imagine what would happen if such huge quantities of plastics are burnt in these incinerators. And this is just for one single year. And clearly you can look that waste to energy has intersections with other components of waste management. For example, it has burnt a lot of category 1, category 2 plastics, which should have been recycled. The entire ecosystem of waste management, right from the waste pickers till the waste aggregators, waste sorters, waste processors, waste recyclers, is impacted because of this mammoth waste to energy incinerators, which rely on plastics to burn garbage. And the impact for that was analyzed by a peer-reviewed study which was published in an international journal. The study was headed by IIT Madras, and what they found was that Delhi's air has the highest concentration of chloride-rich particles compared to other major metropolitan cities of the world. So it was a global study which looked at pollution levels in major metropolitan cities of the world, and Delhi was very, very different from the other cities because of high chloride content. And they pinpointed the high chloride content to the burning of plastics, whether it is open burning or incineration. Burning of plastics leads to a lot of chloride-rich particles, HCl, to be emitted into the air, because a lot of plastics have chlorinated plastics, chlorinated paper release a lot of chlorinated compounds when it is burnt. And coming to the climate impacts, the Chennai Climate Action Plan and the Mumbai Climate Action Plan very clearly say that waste to energy incineration is not the way forward to manage our waste. In fact, one of the major strategies for a climate neutral city, Chennai has this ambition of becoming climate neutral by 2040 or 2050, at least 15-20 years ahead of the climate neutrality that India talks about. And one of the major strategies was shifting away the waste management strategy from waste to energy plants. It is similar in Mumbai because of financial constraints. And even some of the financial institutions, the international financial institutions, are moving away from waste to energy incinerators. For example, in the month of February, we got to know that the World Bank, which was supposed to fund 40 million USD for setting up 4 waste to energy plants in the state of Gujarat, actually withdrew. So this is a picture that I would like to highlight. If waste to energy incineration is so bad, so harmful, so toxic, why is it that the government is telling that it is state of art, it is unique, latest, stuff like that? Clearly, waste to energy incineration is not a new technology. The first waste to energy incinerator was built 150 years back, 1.5 centuries back, in the country of United Kingdom. The global north has experienced the issues with WTEs, and they are moving away from waste to energy incinerators. The EU is clear, and it is moving away from waste to energy incinerators, moving towards zero waste cities, decentralized waste processing systems. It is cutting subsidies for these plants. It has removed waste to energy from the waste hierarchy. It has removed waste to energy from something called as the green taxonomy, the just transition fund, things like that. And look at this graph. This is the number of incinerators in the country of the US. So the number of incinerators has gone down steadily from 1995. For example, from the year 2000 till 2025, 53 waste incinerators have been shut down in the US. and no new incinerators have been built in the US since 1995 in a new location. So this is California's last incinerator that was shut down in the year 2025 in the month of January. This was shut down because of various reasons: the environmental health impacts, climate impacts, but also more importantly because of the financial constraints. Now imagine this: California is the richest state of the US. The GDP of California is like 4.1 trillion. It's higher than the GDP of the entire country of India. And a state like California says it doesn't have the money to manage, to maintain, to operate these waste to energy incinerators. And yet in India, we want to build more of these plants. So this is really something that we all need to look at. And like, why are we looking at it now? So Nirmala has given a very good background of why we are here, what we need to do. But I would also like to share something about the blue category and also the compliance of waste to energy incinerator plants. So India currently has 21 waste to energy incinerator plants, and none of these plants are compliant to the SWM rules 2016. So the SWM rules 2016 mandates about 20 parameters to be monitored, right from the particulate matter, SOx, NOx, HCl, and also some of the more problematic heavy metals, dioxins and furans and things like that. While several of us feel that the 2016 rules itself is very basic, if I can call that, and the countries that operate these waste to energy plants have a much stringent norms for monitoring the emissions. Just to give you an example, I just shared with you how dioxins and furans were not monitored for 4 years in the capital of India. Waste to energy plants in the global north, in countries like Paris, Germany, have to monitor dioxins and furans every few seconds. They have something called as a continuous online monitoring system to monitor dioxins and furans. In India, we are not even monitoring it once in a year. So that is where our compliance and monitoring is. And clearly, none of these waste to energy plants are compliant. So in the month of February, the government introduced a new category called the blue category. This was done in a very haphazard way. Please look at this pie chart. 76% of the representation for this blue category has come from the industry. Very little inputs from civil society organizations and the general public. And I would also like to share that this process was not very transparent, in the sense the mandated 60-day period for getting comments, objections was not followed when this category was introduced. So that is another layer to this blue categorization, how it was pushed by the industry. And this is the picture I would like to share again. This is something that Nirmala also shared. But if you look at this, landfills are very toxic. You can look at this here. They have a pollution index of 86, which means it is a red category industry. You can also look at the waste to energy incinerators in this picture. They have the highest pollution index among all the blue category industries. The pollution index is 97.6. We can argue that it is actually 100 out of 100. It is calculated, out of 100. We can actually argue that it is 100 out of 100 because it is generating more toxins than a coal-fired thermal power plant. It has dioxins and furans. It has toxic leachate. The fly ash cannot be used for your traditional brick manufacturing, mixing with cement industries, things like that. So they are, with one single notification, they are changing this into a blue category. And because of blue category, the consent to operate increases from the current 5 years to 13 years. Inspection frequency reduced to once in a year. Even that is not happening. And this could pave way for setting up these plants in very densely populated areas, eco-sensitive zones, and it would also pave way for setting up more of these hazardous facilities like the e-waste, biomedical incinerators, hazardous waste treatment facilities, and it also lowers the environmental compensation that can be levied on the companies if they are found to be violating. So we started this blue category campaign against the blue categorization. We started with the postcard campaigns, I think in the month of October. And we were bombarded with this another notification that exempts waste to energy incinerators from any kind of prior environmental clearance, and they are saying that since it's a blue category industry, they are doing this. So I would like to reshare this slide, the consequences of this exemption. I will not go into detail on this, but I want to retain this slide, though Nirmala spoke about this. And I would also end by saying that the government has a plan to build 556 incinerators to burn a whopping 222,000 tons of mixed solid waste every single day. So this is based on a task force report that government brought out. So with this, I would stop my presentation. Thank you, and you can reach out to us in case of any queries.